welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys my top tips for surviving French immersion in high school. Now, you can kind of use these tips for like any grade that you're going into for French immersion, but I'm going to be specifically talking about high school for this because I feel like it's a bigger transition. So yeah, I didn't really see any videos like this on YouTube, so I thought why not make one. Hopefully this helps some of you guys out, and let's get right into it. Also, excuse that my bed is not made up. I just wanted to refilm this video because I filmed it already and it was ugly. So just some background knowledge, I went to French immersion and I finished all the way up until grade 12. So I did from 1 to 8 and then 9 to 12. I'm not going to be continuing French in university as of right now just because I'm kind of over it, but I have enough knowledge to give you guys some tips. So my first tip would be to figure out your options. Now what I mean by that is basically figuring out why you are doing French immersion and if you are going to, like, figure out if it's going to be the right choice for you. Because for example, in my town there was a few high schools that I could choose from. So I decided to go to the one that I chose because it had French immersion and then a lot of my friends were going there, so that was kind of like a little extra push for me to go there. Even though my parents actually wanted me to go to a different school that was closer to me, but it also had a better ranking for like academics and everything, I chose French immersion just because I thought that would also be more beneficial for my future. And in the end, I think it was a good choice because both of these schools would have had their benefits, but I got a full French certificate and now I'm considered bilingual, so I feel like that's the better trade-off. But if at any point you feel like you're a bit hesitant on staying in the program, I would make sure that you could stay at that school possibly if you wanted to, because I know for me and a good amount of people that came from the same school into my high school, if we were to drop out of the French immersion program, we would have had to apply for optional attendance or just switch to a completely different school because we were out of the boundaries for our town to attend that school unless we were doing French immersion. So basically what I mean by this is just to try and be like aware of what your options are and figure out, like, do you have a possibility of staying at that school if you wanted to, or do you have to switch schools if you were to drop out of the program? And I also want to mention, I mean, I shouldn't be saying this like before you even go to the program, but it is okay to drop out. I have plenty of friends who dropped out in literally every single grade. So it's all up to you. It's about how comfortable you're feeling with the content and if you're actually like learning from it. The next thing I would say, which I'm reaching over for my notebook to give you guys them, but you need to get on those verbs. Like really, coming into high school, you don't need to know as many, but you definitely should know a good amount and know them well. They're going to drill you on verbs. At least my teachers did. I had one teacher that was the same for grade 9 and 11. All we ever did was verbs. So there's actually a list of the 15 tenses of verbs that you guys are going to be learning in high school, or at least you should be learning in high school. So I'm going to give them to you right now. So there's 8 that are considered like simple tense verbs, and then there's 7 that are like composite tense verbs. So here are the simples. So you're going to be learning présent, passé simple, imparfait, futur simple, futur proche, conditionnel, subjonctif, and imparfait du subjonctif. Sorry about my accent, I'm just not using it right now. And then for composé, you guys are going to be learning passé composé, passé antérieur, futur antérieur, conditionnel passé, passé de subjonctif, plus que parfait, and plus que parfait de subjonctif. So those are all of the tenses you should be learning, and then you're also going to learn different things like pronom and like COD and COE and all that stuff. And don't worry, I know all of this probably sounds so insane because it did to me, but you will get it and you will hopefully get the hang of it. So my biggest piece of advice throughout your time in French immersion is to practice your verbs, do your homework, you know, like just get familiar with them. And even if you don't really know them, like memorize them, like memorize the structure and like the endings, because once you get that, you're usually fine. My next tip in pretty much any language course is to participate, because a good percentage of your mark is based on your participation. If you don't show any participation, your teachers aren't going to know if you know how to speak the French or if you know how to apply the actual French in the real world. So your best bet in getting a good mark is to participate, because even if you're bad at it, they'll know that you're trying and they'll see that. And a lot of the times, like, participation is just going to help you for your final project, because it always is a speaking project, so you're going to have to speak spontaneously usually, just using your knowledge of French with like minimal practice. And you might get the teacher that calls on you, because that same teacher that I was talking about that I had in grade 9 and 11, she used to call on us all the time. Like, she'd go around the class and do roll call for each answer. So that's another reason why you should do your homework as well. because you never know when you're gonna get that kind of teacher. My next tip is obviously to ask for help when you need it and just be chill with your teachers. Like, try and get to know them and be close with them, because honestly, a good bond with your teacher is always helpful in any way. It can help you with your marks, it can help you just like your learning skills, and then just getting to know what kind of person you are. The next thing I'd say would be to make your notes and keep them. So for example, I have this notebook and I've had this literally since grade 8, keeping notes. Any verb tense you get, write it down, because you're gonna keep that for the rest of high school. After that, you can throw it out. I mean, I'm just keeping it just in case I ever need to pull it out. For example, this video. I always think it's a great idea to keep your notes, especially if you know you're gonna have to use them for next year. Next up is to ask your upper years for their tests and quizzes, and especially their listening, because then you get an idea of what your school is asking for and those specific teachers. Obviously, getting work from the person who took the course before you is obviously gonna help in some sort of way, so I'd always try and do that if you can. I'd also consider taking another language, like Spanish, for example. A lot of people who did French, they did Spanish as well, and they found that they were very similar. Now, this could be good or bad depending on how you learn. Some people might confuse the two, but some people might find it just really easy because they're very similar. So I'd look into it, and it could be a good choice for you or it could be a bad choice. These next few tips, I'm gonna basically be giving you guys some resources. So these are the best 3 websites I found for writing in French. So first thing you're gonna wanna use is Word Reference. This website literally changed my life. It is a dictionary, and it has not only French, but a bunch of different languages that you can just translate different words, and it tells you what kind of tense they are, and also if it's like a non féminin or non masculin, which is really important. So I would definitely use Word Reference. Another one I'd say to use would be Bon Patron, because that's a really good spelling and grammar checker. It also like edits your writing and makes it better. The only thing is with that one, you also have to use your own judgment, because remember, it is a computer system, so it might not be always accurate. And then this one, not a lot of people know about. I actually found this on my own, and it's called Lobes Conjugaison. And basically, I'll have everything linked down below, by the way, but it's basically this website where you put in one verb, like avoir, and it will give you it in all of the tenses of possible verbs. It's super helpful if you don't know your verbs and if you're not as like strong with your verbs, or even if you just need help really quick. Use that website. It is amazing. In terms of reading, I wanted to give you guys the readings that I did, so you might have a little head start in knowing what you might be doing. So in grade 9, I read Petit Nicholas, which is basically just a bunch of little stories put together, and it's just about these kids in a classroom. Then we read Cocomero in grade 10, which I don't even know what that was about. Some kid finding his journey. I don't know. Then there was a war book, I think it was called Les Enfants, and it was set in like Hitler time. I don't know. Though you're gonna realize that in French immersion, they make you read some like weird, creepy stories all the time. There's always like a dark element to every story that you read for some reason. And then in grade 12, we read La Route de Chlifa, which is basically another like coming of age book. And then we read La Verras, which is French Shakespeare basically. And yeah, all of them were pretty good. They weren't too long. Some of them were boring, but like all in the end, I got through it. So you will too. And lastly, the listenings. So listenings are really important. They're actually, at least for me, they were a whole part of my exam. Like you have a listening exam as well. So you need to try and practice that if you can. Either if it's just like practicing speaking French and listening to it, like radio or TV or songs. But basically I got tested on Les Parents, which is a French TV show. It's like a sitcom kind of thing. Then we got tested on YouTube videos. So Cyprien, they used a few of his videos. I watched some random thing about Senegal and them making tea there. And then some of the songs that I remember are Elle Verras, the song about Tahiti, which is insane. The song is just insane itself. Elle by MIKA, and then La Vie en Rose. So those are some of the kind of things you're gonna expect. Each teacher will vary, but those are some specific ones that I did, so maybe you might get lucky and get those as well. But yeah, those are all of my tips for French immersion. Hopefully they're gonna help you guys when choosing if you want to do French or not, and just help you out throughout high school. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if it was helpful, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and comment down below what else you want to see from me next. Make sure to subscribe if you're new and turn on your post notification bell so you never miss a post from me. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.